YouTube. So I want to welcome you back to my channel. I have a 20-ounce tumbler here. So we are going to do a beach cup. Have you ever done a beach cup? I have, but today I'm going to show you how I use sand and acrylic paint. That's what I'm going to show you. So I have a 20-ounce tumbler prepped and ready to go on my rod. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use some acrylic paints. We are going to use real sand. So we're going to put real sand right at the bottom of this cup. Then we're going to add our acrylic and we're going to let it blend and make it look like water. Then we are going to add our vinyl. So we're going to do some beach theme vinyl. So with that being said, I want to say welcome back, and I want to welcome all of my new subscribers. You're going to get all of our supplies together. So what you're going to need to make this tumbler is you're going to need some sand. You can go to any kind of, you can go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, you can go to the Dollar Tree. They sell sand in little that you can put like in, jars. So you don't have to like overthink this. You can go to a Dollar Tree, spend $1 and get you some sand, and it will do many, many projects. So let's get all of our acrylics, let's get all of our supplies together, and then we will go over everything that you're gonna need. Okay, so I went ahead and I'm gathering up some things. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little bit of what I pulled out. So we are going to kind of do things a little different. We're gonna, like I said before, we are gonna use sand. So I have some sand that I keep in the container. I have a little scooper. So we're gonna use this sand for the bottom of our cup. And then I wanted to show you guys, we're gonna be creative with this cup. We're gonna go outside of our comfort zone. Anyways, so I already picked out, so we're gonna do some seashells on it, but you can't put, these big, huge ones on there, obviously. So what we're gonna do is I have a whole bunch that I have saved. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those and I'm gonna crush them up, but I'm not gonna crush them like too fine, just enough to kind of give a shell feature in the sand or in the water area. So what I did was I just picked a couple of these out of what I had, and I had these stuck to something, so there's a little bit of hot glue on them, and we're gonna go ahead and peel that off. But anyways, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take, I have some little ones too, and we're gonna take these and we're just gonna put them in a baggie or something, and we're just gonna lightly crush. But we're going to do it to where it doesn't come out as sand. We don't want it so fine that you can't tell that it's a seashell. We're gonna make it enough because the colors on that seashell is so pretty. And then I want to kind of like save the tip of this so that I can kind of bury it in the sand. So with that being said, we have a lot to do. So let's get started. So I went ahead and I picked out the acrylics that I think I'm gonna use. So I picked a little extras, but I'm gonna kind of like wing out the ones I don't want. So you can do any kind of sunset or a beach theme. So basically you need to think about what colors looks good. So you're gonna start when you're at the beach and the sun is coming down. Think about how the sky looks. And that's going to be how your colors are going to start and how they're going to end. So basically you're starting with a dark color and you're going to end with a light color, but you're going to end with your beautiful water. All right, guys, let's get this started. I'm excited. Okay, so make sure you get your gloves on. And I did 30 mil of A epoxy and 30 mil of B epoxy. So I went ahead and I dumped it in my little cup, and we're going to go ahead and mix. You will mix thoroughly. Make sure that it's evenly stirred. If you do not mix this evenly, This will not cure, and that's not what you want. You want it to cure. So this is pretty full. So I'm just going to stir it, and we're going to make sure it's mixed 100% before we get started. So one way you can tell that your epoxy is 100% mixed is when it starts to become clear. When it starts to become clear, it's mixed really good. And you can kind of tell because it starts to get easier to mix. So when you first start mixing it, it's very thick. And then as it mixes equally, it starts thinning out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a very thin layer of epoxy on this. And you don't need to put it too thick because when you put your acrylic paints on there, it's gonna start flowing exactly the way it is. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wet this really good, but we're gonna make it very thin. I don't want a thick amount. So this will probably cover the whole cup. And if it doesn't, just add a little more, but you don't want it to where the epoxy is like flowing. So make sure that you just cover this whole thing, like from top to bottom. Yeah, there's a thick area, and you're gonna go ahead and just keep rubbing it until you have covered this whole thing. Make sure you also get the bottom. There's like cracks right here. Make sure you get it in that crack really good. But make sure you get your bottom really good. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to start pouring our epoxy inside little individual cups so that we can start mixing our acrylic paint. Okay, so here I have all the epoxy, or we have all the cups ready to pour the epoxy in. But I wanted to go ahead and show you guys, you can use any colors you want that you feel, you know, is good for your sunset, beach, whatever your theme is. But this is what I've chose. So I have the Craft Smart dark blue. And I have blue. So what I did was kind of went with a dark to a light, and then it's going to fade in. And I wanted to add a little bit of purple. So we're going to use this, but we're only going to use very little. So this is a violet, okay? And then this is going to be helping with a little bit of the clouds, and mainly this white will be for our ocean, for the waves. And then I'm going to add a little orange for the sunset, a little yellow. These two are going to kind of go together. And then when it comes to our water, so I chose Aqua and Ocean Breeze. So I'm going to go from dark to light. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting just a little bit in each cup. We're not going to overdo it. And you can add as much as you want as you go through. But for now, I'm just going to start off with very little in each cup. You can go back and add any that you feel like you might not have got enough. Okay, this is why it's good to have gloves, because this can get messy. Fun, but messy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start putting and stay in order so that way you know what you've done. Kind of helps. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just putting a little bit in there. Just a little bit. And this, once you do this, you'll know like if you need more acrylic in each one. If you have too much acrylic, just don't use it. You know, don't use, just because it's there, it doesn't mean you have to use it all. Okay. That ocean, I think it's the, yeah, Aqua and ocean color is so pretty. And I'm gonna do the white last. I'm not even worrying about the white. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with our top. So what you're gonna do is, I went ahead and had some popsicle sticks and I broke them in half. That way you're utilizing your supplies. So now we're gonna take our dark blue and we're gonna just kind of drape it on the top. Just drape it evenly. And you probably won't use it all because we're just doing enough to do it. We can always go back. Remember, you can always go back because you're not going to use every little bit. So we've done that one. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start going down the line. And you're going to kind of try to blend them the best you can. But when this starts heating up, it's going to do the blending for you. So you can kind of mix the colors a little bit together. Just don't overdo it. And I'm keeping them in order over here. I don't know if you guys can see. Actually, you can't. Okay, so we are at the purple now. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add. So we're getting a little risky here because, you know, the colors are either going to do what we want or they're not. The good thing about doing tumblers is if you make a mistake, you can strip it or you can strip it. No, I'm kidding. Or you can do a little modification to it, you know. That's the good part. So I don't want to do too much of the purple. Don't want to do that. All right, I'm going to stop there. You know, I love some purple. All right, we're going to keep going. We're going to go with, so as the colors are going to, once it gets heated, once these colors start mixing, you're going to notice like a huge, you know, difference. The thing is with this is like, this is blue. These are like clouds. So any of that white that comes through is fine. And then as it's coming down into the water, into the sand, that's the goal. So that's the look we're looking for. All right, so I know it's starting to look scary, so let's not get too worried, but we're gonna go ahead and now we're doing our water. So what we're gonna do is you can apply as much water when it comes to the dark part as you want. And remember, you're gonna be adding your sand, so try not to go all the way down, but if you do, that sand will cover any problems down below. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. All right. And we're gonna go ahead and do our next. I ended up having to cut 2 more. All right, let's do it. All right, so this is the lighter. So we're gonna blend these a little bit. So I'm gonna have it mixing just a little bit. And we might even go up just a little bit. So we're gonna stop at that point. Maybe. All right. So, all right, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start applying our sand. So I'm gonna take my gloves off. And I'm gonna put some parchment paper down so that way it catches. Actually, what I am gonna do is we're gonna heat it up. Let's do a little warm, add a little heat, let this mix. So that way we can see any colors that we need to add. Keep the bottom up because you want the bottom to stay warm so that you can add your sand. And what I like to do as well is kind of move, like I'll take something, for an example, I'll just take this and I'll prop it underneath. Be very careful because you don't want to spill your acrylics, but I usually will just take this and prop it up underneath here to move my water. All right, so you'll start noticing as time goes, you'll start noticing like a change. You can actually use your like heat gun, or this is the torch, but if you have a heat gun, you can use that and it will kind of blow everything where you want it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move all of these before I have an accident. what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more of that dark up here. You always got to worry about something getting on your cup. Always. Again, and all you're doing is just, well, you're getting the bubbles out, but you're just kind of heating it up so it starts to move. Gotta cover up where all right. All right, and then as it's shifting, you can kind of see like what colors you want to add and what you don't want to add anymore. So I'm gonna do a little bit more shifting here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. I went ahead and put my parchment paper folded in half. That way it's easier to collect. And then we're going to take our sand and we're going to do small scoops, even sprinkles, covering up the white. Okay? So, and if it gets in the color, it's fine. It's sand. So, and this is going to be messy but fun at the same time. See if I can get it to, there, crinkle up a little bit. Don't be shy with the sand. Let it get up into the blue. You know, it is the ocean. Let it get up there. Oh, look how beautiful. Look how much the sand just transformed this cup. So just do a little sprinkle, you know, a little bit up. And then you're going to make sure you get the bottom of your cup. Make sure that you pat this down so it presses into, you know, really good. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply to the bottom. And you can't lift up your cup because you don't want to mess up that movement you got going on up there. So you're just going to kind of do a little, just a little splash, little splish splash. All right. Yes, 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 yes. Beautiful. And you're just gonna keep doing it until you get it nice and coated. Right, and then you're gonna come back up here, do a little more of your sand on the blue. See how it's sinking into that coloring? And that's fine. But look how it's gonna stop it from running any further. Beautiful. I'm excited. This is going to be so pretty once it's done. The thing is, you know, it's art. We don't know how it's going to turn out. We can pray for the best. But like I said before, if it doesn't come out the way you want it, you can always strip it, redo it, get a new one, and you learn from your mistakes. So we're going to let this spend a little bit, and then I will add more sand if I need to. You can add sand to it anytime, like if you add another coat of epoxy. But what we're going to do now is we're going to let this set. We're going to let it dry. And I'm patting it down just to make sure I don't have any really chunky areas. You don't want to use anything on it because this is acrylic, but I'm just using my finger very lightly on the edge. Super easy cup. This was not that hard to do. Super fun. Super fun. Okay, now I'm gonna prop this up. And this is what I do. Everybody does things different, but I like to prop it up to shift my colors. So if I feel like I need any more color anywhere in there, you can add it in because this is still pretty wet. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and let this dry. I think I'm gonna add a more blue up on the very top because the white is coming through because it was running down this way. So I'm gonna let this dry 24 hours and then we'll get to the next step. All right, guys, so I wanted to show you what it's looking like now. I really didn't do add anything except for the white, so you can see kind of like the beach waves. And I did take our seashells and I did take a hammer and just slightly hit them just to break them up just a little bit. And you don't want to add too much because you do have a lot of sand, but I think it's turning out so good. And I'm one of those people that just can't leave it alone. But it looks so good. I love all the colors that's coming through. We have a little bit of the orange, which I didn't want too much orange because I didn't want it to be confusing, but it looks really good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let this dry overnight, and then we will see what it looks like tomorrow. Wow, guys, look at this cup. So I went ahead and I applied the vinyl and more of the details to it, and we have some dolphins and we have some birds, and I'm just really excited how this cup turned out. I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I did, and I will see you on the next video.